inside the house, and I thought I'd smelt some smoke, but I thought it was maybe a firewood or something, and I went to the back window, and it was just all orange. I came out of the house and went over to the window over here.
He ran over the only entrance to the home is in this corner here.
That was all, half of the whole place was on fire.
And Paul ran over and knocked the window out on this side to wake up the people.
My sister woke me up and said, "Roy, the house is on fire." And I immediately got up. If the fire was coming from, it seemed like outside into that corner.
There's an oil drip stove with a carburetor on it. This is where the fire started.
Coming towards the door at us. When I looked out, I was the first one to the door, and I couldn't get out the door because there was already flames coming at us, and it was covering the door. So I told him, come out the window.
Before we grabbed the garden hose, the people next door here had jumped out the window.
And they both got out, and I don't know what was going on. I was trying to get out, and it just happened so fast. Seemed like a few minutes, the whole place is all gone.
Just completely gutted everything. The 3 people that were in there were saved by Paul, who lives in this house next to it here. And if it wasn't for him, I think those 3 people would have perished in the fire.
Sadly, around 20 Alaskans do die each year in house fires. The vast majority of these deaths are in small communities like Yakutat. This is Dave Beattie. He lives here in Yakutat, Alaska with his 3 kids.
This one's the black seaweed. This is ribbon seaweed. I think we eat it.
As you can see, Dave loves to teach his kids all about the subsistence foods around Yakutat. He works hard to be a good father. But a few years ago, Dave realized he'd forgotten to teach them something very important.
The way I looked at it back then is that, nobody from the fire department's going to come to my house and teach my kids how to properly evacuate the home in case of a fire. Nobody from the city or borough government. That's my responsibility as a parent. And so in order to make sure that I can protect my kids, I worked to ensure that they know how to get out of the house.
So, Dave decided to do something about it.
I'll take a smoke detector and I'll set off the smoke detector when they're unaware of it. And then they automatically know that they have to go through either a drill or something's happening, so I can keep it as realistic as possible. And so as soon as I do that, they know to get off their bed, to crawl to the door.
I crawled to the door, felt it.
Cold door.
Cold, and I opened the door and there was no smoke, and I went out the front door.
After this drill, Dave tries another scenario.
My staff jokes that while I don't get hay,
We climbed out of bed and went to the door and put our backside of our hand on the door to see if it was cold or not.
Cold door.
And then if it is cold, then you can check.
Smoke.
And then if there's smoke, then you have to close the door quickly and climb out of the window.
It's easy to see that Dave's kids have practiced. They know when the alarm sounds to crawl to the door and feel it with the back of their hand. A cold door and no smoke means they should go out the front door. A hot door or smoke tells them to head out the window.
The scariest part is people don't think it can happen to them.
Jody Hetrick works for the Alaska State Fire Marshal's office. Her office investigates fire deaths all across the state.
And we've seen it happen so many times around the state where people probably did have the time to get out, but they got lost in their own house because of the smoke and the confusion, or they were scared and weren't sure exactly when to leave, or when it came time to leave, they didn't know the best way to get out.
Both Jody and Dave know how easily these deaths could be prevented.
First, make sure your smoke alarms work so that you're alerted if there is a fire. Second, walk through your house, check for obstacles, and sit down with your whole family, draw a floor plan of the house, and figure out what are the best ways out. You need to identify 2 exits out of every room, and once you've done that, then have a practice walk-through fire drill to where you pretend the smoke alarm goes off and have everybody be in the rooms they normally spend the most time in and have them walk through the fire drill to see if they can get out.
When Dave and his kids walked through their fire drill, they found a problem. The boys couldn't safely get out the bedroom window.
They have a little step that was placed up there just for that. Once the boys go out, they know in an order that the oldest goes out first and waits on the step and helps his younger brother out. And then their job is to go around the corner and help their sister out her window. As children are smaller, you got to learn to place furniture in the bedroom so that the child will be able to climb up, so they do have access to the window latches and to open the window knobs. I've seen nightstands and dressers placed in front of the knobs in the windows, and you know, I've spoken to a few of the parents and told them that, you know, you're blocking your exit.
Once the kids are out, they go to their safe meeting place, the telephone pole by their neighbors. There they can make sure everyone is out, and if someone is missing, they can tell the firefighters exactly which room to search.
That our mom's in there, and he's at the back door at the last living room in the back room.
So let's review. First, check your smoke detectors. Second, find 2 exits for every room. Third, practice your plan twice a year to find any hidden problems. And when the smoke detector goes off, do like Dave's kids. Crawl to the door and feel it with the back of your hand. If it's cold and there is no smoke, then go out. If the door is hot or there is smoke, close the door quickly and use the second exit. Once at your meeting place, choose one person to call the local emergency number and never go back into the fire. Just one breath of smoke from a house fire can kill.
Well, hydrogen cyanide gas is given off as in the smoke when furnishings inside a house burn. Another gas is carbon monoxide, which you hear about killing people quite often. And it also can affect how you think. So if you're affected by carbon monoxide because you try to go through that smoke, you can get lost and disoriented in your own house and not be able to find the way out.
Within hours of the fire in Yakutat, the community was already pulling together to help the 2 families any way they could. That's just what Alaskans do. Even as he watched the smoldering remains of the fire, Roy Shanna knew what was really important.
Lost everything. Just our lives that came out of it.
I was back there about the end of that car.